Welcome back, everybody, to the story of Tomb of Annihilation. Apologies for the long hiatus. We had Christmas, New Year's, trips away, and illness all getting between me and continuing the story. Thank you so much for those of you who have stuck around anticipating this next part. I can assure you that you won't be disappointed. A little promotional stuff as well. I've started up an account on X for this channel, as well as TikTok accounts showing these videos, and further promotion on Instagram. So if you have a moment, please go and give a follow and a like to keep spreading the word of this series. Now, last we left off, our heroes have been travelling down the River Soshenstar into the jungles of Chult. They are escorting priests and supplies for the Order of the Gauntlet. On their journey, they stopped at Camp Righteous, the Gauntlet's original base of operation, now left as smouldering ruins. Whilst investigating the site, most of the party entered an ancient shrine there, bypassing the traps to find the treasure stashed at the end. However, upon returning outside, they realize that their two lookouts, Bumble and one of the guards, have vanished, and an ambush of goblins was lying in wait for them. The goblins, or Batiri, as they are known in Chult, don intimidating masks modelled to look like an animal. Different animal masks denote different tribes. It is difficult to make out, what with all the threatening screams, yells, and jittery shuffling, but the masks of this tribe of Batiri seem to resemble some kind of red ant. To make themselves appear more frightening, the Batiri often climb on one another's shoulders, sometimes 4 to 5 goblins high, creating looming battle stacks of pointed spears. "You come, make slave," one of the more armoured goblins demands to the group. Despite the broken and shoddy use of the common tongue, the adventurers and the Order of the Gauntlet members present all know exactly what the goblins mean. Though the Gauntlet members perhaps might have preferred the diplomatic approach to weaseling out of this situation, the player characters have no such patience, and with a swift drawing of steel, a fight breaks out. Tethys, the arrogant and brazen paladin, bursts forward, climbing up the side of broken lodgings to jump at the tall stacks of goblins, levelling them to the ground. Bori, the impatient and stocky fighter, who is already growing tired of the sweltering heat, lashes out with his two-handed maul, crushing with a pop the heads of one of the Batiri. Revna, the dexterous and cautionary ranger, whips out his two short swords and makes for the leader, locking himself in a close-knit duel, whilst his ethereal pet panther Kubali leaps at the larger group. And Ars, the slippery and calculated wizard rogue, ducks out of sight, before slinking around in a flanking maneuver to stab the Batiri in the back with his Ikulwas. The Order of the Gauntlet members scatter. The guard Fitfear assists in the assault. The priests Undril and Aiden take cover while sending healing spells out towards the party. The one remaining acolyte, Thara, makes a run for it. However, though the Batiri might be small and lacking wits, they are experienced hunters, especially within this harsh environment, so when they carefully plan an ambush, and the ambushees strike out with aggression, there will likely be some repercussions. As Thara makes a break for it, a Batiri spear catches her leg, tripping her over, and when she gets to her feet, that same spear finds its way into her gut. As she screams and blood trickles down the shaft of the blade, Thara falls forward, sending the spear shooting up through her body and exiting her back in a bloody mess of gore. In their horror, the party see their ally fall and decide enough is enough. They quickly dispose of the Batiri with great brutality, Revna letting Kubali finish off the leader as the panther mauls the goblin's throat in two. But it is not over. The loud noises of combat must have attracted some nearby creatures, as a group of fully grown axe-beaks burst forth from the brush, charging at the adventurers. These large beasts proved to be more challenging than the goblins, as their sizable axe-shaped beaks proved to be just as deadly as the weapon they are named after. But this time, with their caution at its highest, the heroes take no risks and dispatch of the axe-beaks as quickly as they can. Once the fighting is over, and the ground is now littered with crimson stains and bodies, They don't even take a moment to rest. Bumble and Jeffroy, the Order of the Gauntlet Guard, agreed to keep watch as the rest of them entered the shrine. Bumble and Jeffroy are now nowhere to be seen. "Must have been those damn goblins," Ars announces. "They said they wanted to take us as slaves. That must be what they've done with the others." "Where in the nine hells could they be, though? We're surrounded by jungle every which way," Tethys replies. "Well, there must be some kind of clue as to which direction they've gone. Goblins aren't smart enough to cover their tracks." Ori chips in. "You're right, and I think I have found something." Revna calls the others over to the river's edge, where he shows them human tracks leading westward across the river. They must have gone this way. They also notice that a large amount of the supply crates that were in the canoes have been taken too. Unsure of how to proceed, Undral Silvertusk tells them to follow the tracks and find the others and the supplies. She, Aiden, and Fitfear will remain here awaiting their return, and will hide in the shrine if things go hairy. Not wanting to waste a moment, the adventurers head off, travelling on foot west into the uncharted jungle. The vines and foliage are thick and abundant, making on-foot travel much more arduous and time-consuming than travelling on the river. Some vines have to be hacked through, and roots around large clusters of bushes have to be found. The myriad of bright colours reflecting off of the exotic fruits and flowers douse the jungle in a glimmering serene light. One not to be trusted, however, as Revna points out that any of these beauteous plants could be dangerously deadly. Their beauty just a guise to draw creatures in. Revna's upbringing, growing up in a smaller jungle, meant that he had acquired the skills necessary for tracking, scavenging, and navigating this kind of terrain. So continuing on the path following the footprints and trampled plants remained simple enough. After travelling for some time, they come upon an ancient vine-covered statue. It depicts a Cholton king riding atop a dinosaur. Ars connects that, from the studying he has done, this is likely a depiction of Uptau, the creator god of Cholt, often referred to as the father of dinosaurs. At the base of the statue, amidst a scattering of amphibian and hominoid skulls, there is treasure lying there. Ars collects up the gold, saying that Uptau has no use for it now, as people don't worship him anymore. He also finds a small lockbox, and picking the lock, Ars finds within a small, beautiful spyglass, finely crafted from ebony and with foreign engravings upon it. He certainly takes that for the keeping too. Continuing back along the path, it is not long before they are stopped again, this time by something much more disturbing. Hanging upside down from a tree, lashed to it by vines, is the remains of what was once a human. It is mostly just a skeleton now, but Tethys acutely notices that this body is fresh. Upon closer inspection, he can see dozens of ants crawling through the corpse, munching away on what remains of the flesh. Stepping back, however, sends a shiver down the paladin's spine, as it does too for the rest of the group. Though the garbs on this corpse are torn, the symbol of the Order of the Gauntlet can be clearly seen still. This is Jeffroy. Earlier that very day, Bumble and Jeffroy stand in the remains of Camp Righteous, nonchalantly gazing over the ruinous landscape to the vast and omnipresent jungles lingering beyond. "What do you think they'll find in there?" Bumble looks up at the guard, who stands stoically to attention before averting his gaze downwards to address the small, scraggy goblin beside him. "I don't know. To be honest, I don't think they are going to find anything. Shrines like that were likely plundered decades or even centuries ago. They'll find nothing in there but bones of the dead, and, if they are particularly unlucky, the traps that killed them." "Well, that's not a very fun way to look at it." "I am sorry, little goblin thing. I am sure they will find many riches and ancient history. I know better than to question the wits of..." Their conversation is interrupted by a loud snap, the sound of metal hitting wood. They turn to the river and hurry over to see what made the noise. A hole has been made in one of the supply crates, but the culprit is nowhere to be seen. Turning back around, they are faced with dozens of pointed spears and sharpened blades held out towards them, as the clan of Batiri goblins bear down with intimidating numbers.
"Oh!"
Bumble shouts in elation.
"My people! Don't worry, I am goblin folk just like you guys. Here, would you like to meet my rat friend, Clive?"
"Shut up!"
one of the Batiri yells.
"You are not Batiri. You come with us. Queen Grabstab will want you. Now, drop him!"
Jeffroy, appearing appropriately frightened, drops his weapons.
"We should follow. They outnumber us, Bumble. This is a fight we cannot win."
"All right, sounds like fun."
Wanting to keep her head upon her shoulders, Bumble agrees to go. The Batiri also take with them many of the supply crates that were on the canoes. Bumble does not quite register the severity of the situation like Jeffroy does, but rather sees it as an opportunity to meet more of her kind. So, hands bound, they are led away through the jungle, leaving Camp Righteous and the rest of the adventurers behind them. After travelling for a good few hours through the harsh thicket, and Bumble being unsuccessful in striking up conversations with the other goblins, although she did learn that they come from a tribe called the Biting Ants, hence the masks, they eventually arrive at their destination. Yellyark, as it is called, is home to the Biting Ants tribe. The perimeter of the territory is marked with the heads and skulls of their enemies, both humanoid and beasts alike. Though small in scale, the camp is bustling with activity. Campfires roar as food and supplies are transported between tents. Canoes sit beside a lake to the west. Questionable smells emit from a larder nearby. One goblin is locked in a crude cell to the south, while other goblins stand guard. 3 large anthills can be seen, alive with creepy crawlies, and a collection of small tents used for residency sit in the center of the camp atop a large, circular, stretched-out bed of leaves. Catching the attention of all the Batiri in camp upon their entrance, Bumble and Jeffroy are dragged to the center of the camp towards the tent of their leader. Bumble overhears a conversation in the goblin language coming from inside the tent. A heated discussion is going on over who should get to wear the pointiest hat. Upon being summoned outside, the tribe leader reveals herself. Queen Grabstab. A regal-looking goblin, regal for goblin standards anyway, who stands a solid 3 inches taller than the rest of the goblins. She wears a fearsome mask made from skulls, a crimson torn gown, wooden armor covered in artistic etchings, embroidered tattoos across her body, and around her neck a bronze and adamantine medallion that has the word Vaughn etched into it. She holds a long wooden staff, which she promptly bangs on the ground, bringing the gabbering goblins to silence. She addresses Bumble in the goblin tongue.
"Grabstab speaks now. You are strange and very green. Not Batiri, not from Chult. Who are you? Why you have human with you? Is it slave?"
Bumble hesitates before her face lights up with excitement.
"Yes, he is my slave."
She goes on to tell them all about what she's doing here, where she's from, and how much she admires the masks and outfits of the tribe. I'm certain the words, "love what you've done with the place," come up. She also talks about how Jeffroy is her silly human slave, and that she is in charge of her entire group. Queen Grabstab says that if she really is a true leader, she will be able to show her strength in a test of combat, to which Grabstab promptly challenges her. Bumble, though ditzy at the best of times, is not an idiot, and can clearly tell that Queen Grabstab would vastly outmatch her in a fistfight. But she has a failsafe in place. A circle is made in the middle of the camp, Batiri hooting and hollering all around. As the fight is about to start, Bumble uses her wild shape ability to transform herself into a grizzly bear. Upon seeing this, Queen Grabstab falls to her knees in reverence, and all the other Batiri follow suit.
"Magic, magic, magic!"
They yell over one another.
"Such power
Grabstab bellows.
in hands of goblin kin. You must be the one. the one the mighty Vaughn has sent unto us. You are godlike. All hail Bumble!
All hail Bumble!
the Batiri chant for quite some time. It seems goblins are not used to seeing magic wielded at the hands of their own kind, and so they genuinely believe Bumble to be some kind of god. They lift her up and parade her around the camp, chanting her name as they do. Bumble absolutely bloody loves it. She is taken to the leader's tent, where she is fed meal after meal of disgusting delicacies. She asks Grabstab about the bed of leaves that the tents sit upon. Grabstab explains that to protect the tribe from giant carnivores, they built the most important structures of the camp atop a net of strong, supple tree branches bound together with vines. The net is rigged to a heavy tree, bent down like a giant spring. When a predator threatens to overrun the village, they will cut the vine, and the entire village will be rolled into a ball and flung thousands of yards over the jungle. Grabstab also goes on to talk more about the village. There are 40 goblins present, 25 adults and 15 children, most of whom stay in the central huts here for protection. Bumble also inquires about the medallion and who this Vaughn is. Grabstab explains that Vaughn is their protector. He has brought Bumble unto them, and now, as a show of faith, Bumble must perform a sacrifice to the great Vaughn. She is carried outside to one of the large ants' nests. A bound Jeffroy is tied up, looking terrified and pleading for his life. Bumble tries to argue that Jeffroy is more used to them alive, but the Batiri aren't buying it. If she refuses, they will give her as a sacrifice instead. It takes a scarily small amount of convincing for Bumble to follow through with this idea. Though she wouldn't admit it, she finds it all quite exciting. She never cared all that much for Jeffroy anyway. She has brought a jar of sticky honey. Jeffroy is thrown onto the ant's nest, and Bumble pours the honey all over him. His screams could be heard a mile away as the ants start slowly feasting away on the honey and by proxy on Jeffroy's flesh. As he writhes and screams in agony, the Batiri celebrate. Bumble finds it all rather amusing. The realization of Jeffroy's corpse comes with a shock. Tethys, in particular, is seething with rage. He agreed to escort the Order of the Gauntlet members into the jungle, and now 3 of them lie dead. He is done with playing it safe.
I'm going to kill every last one of them,
he says as he marches over towards Yellyark, the camp now within sight. The others follow. Upon making it to the edge of the camp, the 4 of them crouch down beside a large bush. Using his newly acquired spyglass, Ars peers over the bush and assesses the situation before them. He describes the layout of the camp to the others. The largest concentration of Batiri are in the center of the camp. The stolen supply crates lie to the northwest near the larder, and Bumble is sat to the west near the lake, surrounded by a group of goblin children. He can't make out whether Bumble is fighting or playing with them. Tethys lays out the plan. Here's what we're going to do. Ars and Bori, you go right. Revner and I will go left. We'll stay hidden for as long as possible. Ars, you make some kind of distraction. Once you do, I'll strike, starting near the holding cells down there. Once the fighting breaks out, Bori, you take the first opportunity to get to those supply crates and bring them back to here. Revner, you circle round to the lake, free Bumble, and then the 2 of you can strike from the far side. Got it? With the plan laid out, they begin putting it into action. Tethys and Revner have no difficulty sneaking round to the south. Ars creeps around to the north, but Bori, unsurprisingly, is less successful. Bumping into a tree, he alerts the attention of a few nearby goblin guards who scurry towards him, blades drawn. Bori begins facing them down, while Tethys, thinking that the plan has fallen apart and that Bori has just started fighting, strikes out, attacking the guards stationed at the holding cell. As these tussles continue, Ars quietly makes his way unseen to the center of the camp, his intention still to create a distraction. Revna circles around to the lake and catches Bumble having a delightful time with the goblin children. She's excited to introduce Revna to them all, but he tells her that this is a rescue and that they need to get out of here. Before Bumble gets the chance to tell Revna that it's fine, she basically holds sway over these goblins and can leave whenever she wants. There are screams heard from the center of camp. To create a distraction using his magic, Ars has set fire to one of the tents. Screams of both goblin adults and children can be heard coming from within the burning tent, as the entire tribe is alerted to the intruder's presence. A bloody battle ensues. Bumble insists on protecting the children that she has with her, as they are innocent of any wrongdoings. Nevertheless, she joins in the fight against the adult Batiri who kidnapped her. Revna gets a nasty surprise as masses of ants swarm out of the nearby anthill and make for him. Bori, stomping out the guards he was fighting, runs to the larder and grabs some of the supply crates before rushing them back to the camp entrance, avoiding arrows flying towards him as he does so. The skirmish draws out Queen Grabstab from her tent, who clocks Ars, the killer of her children. Ars also clocks Grabstab, and his eyes widen. That medallion around her neck, that is a control amulet. A prized possession of many powerful wizards. It also means that whatever it controls must be nearby. He wants it. He needs it. Ars and Grabstab are locked into combat, blows being exchanged as fury fills both their eyes. Tethys, still filled with a burning anger, is slicing through goblins like a warm knife through butter, using his holy smites to tear them apart. This doesn't stop him catching the end of a fair few spears, however, and although he is seeing red, he remembers to use his lay on hands ability to heal his open wounds before continuing the fight. As chaos erupts, Bori and Revna take the brunt of the responsibility of collecting the supply crates, whilst Bumble prioritizes protecting the children. Ars, Tethys, and the Panther Kabali are solely focused on the fighting. Heavy blows are taken, and the adventurers appear to just about be pulling through. Whilst many Batiri are slain, there are still some who remain, attempting to protect their queen. Things are looking pretty sticky for Ars, but he persists nonetheless. He will get his hands on that amulet. What all of them fail to see, however, is one small goblin who sneaks round to the spring mechanism attached to the bent tree. The supplies are retrieved as Bori, Revna, and Bumble make for an escape. Tethys, however, rushes into the middle of the camp to assist Ars in finishing Queen Grabstab off. Revna notices, all too late, the goblin at the spring and fires off an arrow, but not before the goblin brings its sword down, cutting the vines. Just as Tethys steps onto the leaf net, the mechanism is sprung. It works like a charm, as the center of the village is folded up and flung high into the sky, rocketing across the tree line until it is well out of sight. The goblin who cut the wire falls with an arrow in its head. Not a single living Batiri of the Biting Ants tribe remains. Revna, Bori, and Bumble stand in silence, stupefied. They entered this fight as 5, and are leaving it as 3. Bori turns to the others.
Well, shit.
Thank you one and all for making it to the end of the video. The series will keep going, don't you worry yourselves. Coming up next time, suffering from the decreased party size, Revna, Bori, and Bumble, and their new goblin children, make their way to Camp Vengeance and meet the less than pleasant leader of the Order of the Gauntlet. And we find out whether Ars and Tethys survived being flung across the jungle, and if they do, try to figure out just where the hell they are now. Please keep the love and support coming, give the video a like, a comment, a subscribe, and a share, and please go and follow the new promotional accounts on X, Instagram, and TikTok under Stories from the Big Chair. Thank you all so very much. Shout out again to Theo Bimpson, of course, for the music, link to his site and other works down below. Take care of yourselves, Happy New Year, and I'll see you all in part 9.